Now that we know how to multiply our rational expressions, we are now going to divide our rational expressions. We are going to start with a flashback, just so we can remember how to deal with our fractions. And rational expressions are pretty much just grown-up fractions. They're like teenage fractions, which, means they're complicated. Okay, so let's say we have 4 divided by 9, so 4 ninths, sorry. And we're going to divide that by 2/3. When we are dividing, a simple way to do that by hand is to multiply by the reciprocal. So multiply by the reciprocal. If you don't remember what that word means, reciprocal, all we're going to do is we're going to flip that second fraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to be using 4 ninths, but instead of dividing by 2/3, I am going to multiply 3/2. Multiply by the reciprocal. You're going to hear me call this copy, dot, flop. Multiply by the reciprocal is the mathematical terms. The copy dot flop is the Miss Nelson verbiage to help you understand. So copy the first fraction, change it to a dot, and multiply. Our previous video was on multiplication, so the only thing that changes is this first step. Now it's exactly like we just did. We just have to simplify it out. So 4 and 2. 2 reduces to 1, 4 reduces to 2, 3 reduces to 1, 9 reduces to 3, and I'm left with 2 times 1, which is 2, 3 times 1, which is 3. Okay? So now we're just going to do that with some rational expressions, see how that works, and let you loose. So we'll start with the first example that requires no factoring, just so we can see what happens with our factors. All right, so this one is x minus 4 times x minus 1 over x plus 5 divided by x plus 7 times x minus 1 divided by 6 times x plus 5. So we're presented with this problem, multiplication. From here, we are going to simplify it. When we're dividing, we multiply by the reciprocal. Copy, dot, flop. So I'm going to take the first fraction and I'm just going to copy it. So copying down my first fraction. Nothing changes here. Now I'm going to change my division to multiplication. And then I'm going to use the reciprocal of this fraction. So 6 times x plus 5 is in the denominator. It is now in the numerator. My x plus 7, x minus 1 is in the numerator. It is now in the denominator. And now, if it's in the numerator and denominator, I can reduce to 1. So I have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1. X minus 1 divided by x minus 1 is 1, so that reduces. X plus 5 divided by x plus 5, that reduces. So now I'm left with x minus 4 times 6, so I'm going to write that as 6 times x minus 4. And then in the denominator, I'm left with x plus 7 times 1, so I get x plus 7. And I'd be done. You could go ahead and simplify that. Right now, there's nothing else we could do. If you took that to 6x minus 24 by distributing in your 6, it's not wrong. It just looks a little bit different. Okay? So let's take a look at one more example that requires some factoring, and we'll call it good. All right. I'm just going to erase this portion here so we can just use this part of the board. Okay. So, b minus 7 divided by b squared minus 16b plus 63 divided by b minus 5 over b squared minus 18b minus 81. Sweet. So, copy dot flop, multiply by the reciprocal. So as I copy, I'm going to factor here. So my v minus 7, and then I'm going to factor the denominator. Factors of 63, that'll equal negative 16. That's negative 7 and negative 9. Okay? If you've forgotten factoring, I have factoring videos on my Math 2 playlist. Go ahead and check out that playlist and see those videos. Okay? Copy. Now I'm going to change my division to multiplication. And I'm going to do the reciprocal of my second fraction. While I do that, I'm going to factor. So my denominator, factors of 81, that'll equal this 18. Ooh. I'm going to say that this is a positive 81. I'm going to say I wrote that wrong. Okay? So this is going to be b minus 9 times b minus 9 all over my b minus 5. So as I copy dot flopped, I factored. So I just did 2 steps in one. You can do it separate, doesn't matter. Now I'm ready to simplify. b minus 7 divided by b minus 7 is 1. b minus 9 divided by b minus 9 is 1. And I'm left with b minus 9 over b minus 5. Okay, cool. Get to work. Email me if you got questions.